Hello, my name is Casey Garrett, and this is my podcast on the wisdom of crowds. A staff writer at The New Yorker, James Surowiecki, decided to branch out away from his business column, The Financial Page, which has appeared in many different publications, including, but not limited to, The New York Times and The Wall Street Journal, to write an eye-opening book called The Wisdom of Crowds. In this book, he explores a simple notion that together a large group of people are collectively smarter than any individual expert at solving a problem or even predicting the future. He thoroughly supports his idea through a wide range of examples, including pop culture, the military, economics, psychology, and even politics. No matter the complexity of the examples he provides, he brilliantly breaks them down for everyone to understand. After reading this book, you will think differently about so many things you experience in your everyday life. In order to get a full understanding of this book and the ideas behind it, you must understand Surowiecki's definition of a crowd. A crowd can be a large, diverse group of people that can have a wide range of intelligence, much like what we see in our classrooms. Or they can be members of a large business corporation or even a government agency. Throughout his research, he found that the bigger and more diverse the group was, the better the results were. More often than not, the group's collective decisions were shockingly intelligent and accurate. To show that there are always two sides to every argument, he also acknowledges the fact that crowds can make extremely poor decisions as well. In fact, it was a bad decision made during the stock market bubble in the late 1990s that led him to write this book. He opens the book with a pop culture example of how crowds are smarter. Everyone has heard of the popular game show, Who Wants to Be a Millionaire? The rules of the show were simple. A contestant was asked a series of multiple-choice questions, which progressively got more difficult, and if they answered 15 in a row correctly, they won $1 million. If a contestant was stumped by a question, they could use 3 lifelines to assist them: 50-50, phone a friend, or poll the audience. The first option, 50-50, took away 2 of the 4 answers, and it gave you a 50% chance of getting the question correct. The second option, phoning a friend, allowed you to call whom you considered your smartest friend and ask them for the answer. Under pressure, however, the smart friend only got the answer correct 65% of the time. The last option is to poll the audience. And guess what? Those random crowds of people with nothing better to do on a weekday afternoon than sit in a TV studio pick the right answer 91% of the time. Diversity can make a crowd even more intelligent, especially in business. James G. March, a legendary organizational theorist, said this: "The development of knowledge may depend on maintaining an influx of the naive and the ignorant, and competitive victory does not reliably go to the properly educated." This relates to business because you don't want to hire a group of people that think too much alike, because then the group's ideas flatline and are no longer innovative. They spend too much time exploiting and not enough time exploring. Surowiecki explains that by bringing new members into the group, even if they're less experienced and less capable, actually make the group smarter. On January 28, 1986, the Space Shuttle Challenger exploded 74 seconds after it lifted off. Since the launch was televised, the news spread quickly. In fact, the 4 major contractors responsible for building and launching the space shuttle were immediately targeted, and their stocks began to fall. Just 30 minutes after the explosion, before anyone knew the cause, one of the 4 companies' stocks decreased more rapidly than any other: Morton Thiokol. 6 months later, Thiokol was found liable because the O-ring seals they made for the booster rockets became brittle in the cold weather, leaking gases into the main fuel tank, causing the explosion. Therefore, the market was right, and it only took them 30 minutes to figure out who was to blame. The market was smart that day, in that it met the 4 conditions that determine wise crowds: diversity of opinion, independence, decentralization, and aggregation. Crowds, however, are not good at solving every type of problem. Crowds make smart decisions to cognitive problems. In other words, questions that have a right answer. They are also surprisingly good at solving other types of problems. For instance, in smart crowds, people work together and are able to coordinate their behaviors. like in a market where buyers and sellers agree on a reasonable price. On the other hand, groups are not good at problems of skill. I would not ask a group of random people to perform surgery on someone or to fly an airplane. The wisdom of crowds is not about compromise or a consensus. It is more or less due to conflict and disagreement. It is the average opinion from the group, and everyone in the group might not agree with the outcome. So that means you cannot reach collective wisdom through compromise. Crowds are only smart when the group is large, diverse, and everyone thinks independently. This book has opened my eyes to so many new ideas and changed my way of viewing a lot of things. I would have never thought to ask a group for an answer over an expert. I would have never thought an expert of being biased, but after reading this book, I would think twice about trusting an expert's opinion. That doesn't mean expertise is irrelevant or that we don't need intelligent people. It just means that no one of us knows more than all of us.